Hey YouTube. Hey, today I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. It's not quite the norm, no philosophical ideas or epiphanies or anything like that. Today I kind of wanted to dive into me personally. Um, my diagnosis is severe reoccurring depression, PTSD, non combat related PTSD, and severe anxiety. Now, severe anxiety, everybody gets that. Uh, you panic attacks, things like that. Don't like to be around crowds. Uh, Part of that is I consider myself an empath. For those of you who understand what an empath is, great. For those of you who don't, Google it. It's really cool because I don't really want to get in and talk about it. So that's another reason why I don't like to be around crowds. But the non-combat related PTSD, let's get into that. There are certain times that, excuse me, that I can get really violent. And I don't mean physically violent. Well, yeah, I do. Um, in certain situations, I will get really, really violent. I will, you know, uh, if someone is hurting a child or somebody is hurting a woman, for that matter, then I'll get really violent. I would just pretty much wreck shop. Uh, and there's a reason for that. And it stems from my sister. As much as I can tell, it stems from my sister. Uh, my half sister was, oh, she was amazingly beautiful. And I say was because she's no longer around. Um, but oh my God, she was so much fun. She would always take care of me. She always looked out for me. And it was just, we had a really good relationship. But when somebody's harming a child or somebody's harming a woman, I get defensive because of that, because I don't think there shouldn't be any abuse, period. Let alone, woman, child, man, doesn't matter. If you're abusive to somebody else, then you're a dick and you need to go away, period. I don't think there's a whole lot of cause for physical violence. I don't like it. I'm pretty much a pacifist until we get to those points, and that's where the PTSD kicks in. The PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is not something that you can control. It's something that your mind is controlling. It's, let's just go on the combat side of that. So you're riding down the road in Fallujah or wherever, and you hit an IED, and that is such a shock to your system. It's a shock to your mind. It's a physical shock to your body, whether you get hurt or you don't. And there are certain things that will trigger that response that you had at that very moment. A backfire, fireworks, gunshots, things like that will, loud noises can take you back to that loud noise. And that's when you're reverting back to the scary part, and your brain automatically goes back, and you have zero control over that. No control whatsoever. That's the same thing with me. Mine stems from a lot of abuse. Like I said, when I was 3 years old, my parents split up. But I was, for the first 7 years of my life, I was bouncing back and forth between my mom and dad. But, however, they were both still involved in the motorcycle club. And it's a huge Southern California motorcycle club. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want any repercussions or people coming up and knocking on my fucking door saying, you gave out too much information, whatever. And I'm saying club. That was pretty abusive in and of itself. The mere fact that my dad was off doing club business and things like that, and my mother was partying all the time. She was either always drunk or she was always stoned. or high on coke. And here's a really personal thing that, I figured at one point in time I was going to tell everybody this, but at the age of 2, I was passed around for drugs. So when my mom wanted to get high, she handed me out to whoever just wanted to do whatever to me. So use your imagination. I'm not getting into details because that's disgusting, and those people need to die. But that's the truth of the matter. And although I don't remember that back then, my grandparents, even though they're alcoholics or were alcoholics, they were always truthful with me. And they said that it started around the age of 2. It's right around the age of 5 that I can remember it happening. And so it was just like that. Mom's boyfriends would come in, and I would be raped and molested. So protecting a child is, in my mind, the most important thing I can do in life. And when my sister was raped, at the same time I was being raped, that's where that protecting a woman comes into play. So I have basically I have 2 rules in life. Number 1, never under any circumstances do you ever disrespect a woman. 2, don't lie. Those are my only 2 rules. Now, if a woman comes up and hauls off and smacks me in the mouth, she's going to go to sleep. I believe if you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to exert yourself forcefully and physically on somebody, well, then you better be ready for the repercussions. And I don't care if you're a female on that one. So when I read stories of a child that was abused, or it's on the news and a child was abused, that's when the PTSD will kick in, and then my depression follows that. Because I can't get that out of my head. And as I gotta wait for her to walk by, because I really feel stupid standing here with a stick on my lap and a telephone. So anyway, she was cute though. So I can't get those things out of my head, and I just keep regurgitating over and over and over and over and over again. And then I have a real hard time sleeping. So when I have a hard time sleeping, I'm still thinking about this stuff. And my thoughts race as it is all the time anyway. So as my thoughts are racing, I'm having a hard time getting past this or stop thinking about it. That's when it starts getting really bad for me. That's when that severe depression starts kicking in. And that's when I really need to reach out for my support group. Sometimes that's easy for me to do. Sometimes it's really hard. But being set up on a schedule with my psychologist and having his phone number to where I can call him and just say, hey dude, I'm not in a good way. And then I rely on my support group to decide whether I'm going to be okay or not. Because if I'm not going to be okay and I do need to go check into a hospital, they have my best interest in mind. I mean, I like it, and I may be an asshole when I get in there. But it doesn't take me long to slow down off of that and realize, okay, now we're going to make some progress. And these are things that learning coping skills help, and they make a huge difference. And coping skills are really great. But I know I'm kind of bouncing and jumping kind of all over the place, and it's because these videos that I do, I don't write it down. I don't even write bullet points down of what I want to talk about. It just, here it is. Here it is. It's just all right here in your face. So now you kind of get an understanding of what the PTSD and the severe recurring depression and the anxiety does, and how it affects my life. And this is why I don't date, is specifically because of this, so that I'm not dragging. Right now, I don't have enough skills to actually be in a relationship and have things happen to where I can handle them properly. Because my idea still and right now is just get the hell away from the situation. So if that means me loading all my shit up in a car and getting out of there, then that's what it is. So I don't want to do more damage than than I need to. So there's no point in me dating and getting involved like that. But I am learning about myself. I'm learning a lot about the social anxieties that I have, and my coping skills, which is awesome. I mean, I love learning about myself. But anyway, it's over 10 minutes, and I just wanted you guys to kind of know and get an idea of the basic structures of what I go through. And this is on a daily basis. Sometimes it's on an hourly basis. So I just really have to watch what I do. I have to watch what I'm absorbing. If I'm watching videos on YouTube or Netflix, I have to be very careful on what stimulation I put into my brain, and because that can just trigger me right back. So I'm getting better, and that's the whole point. The whole point of this is to recognize that I have a problem, which I recognized at a very, very, very early age. I always knew something was off. I always knew something wasn't right, and I have been asking for help my entire life, and nobody's stepped up. Nobody has stepped up until a couple of years ago. I got a diagnosis from some doctors in Oregon that were just amazing, amazing people, and it made sense to me. But I was more curious, so I sat down with them and I was actually asking them. I said, "Look, these are my behaviors that I've noticed, that I recognize," and was able to sit down with them, and because I guess I'm so insightful, that they were able to come up with this diagnosis, and it works. That allowed me to get on the right medication, and that's key. Do I believe in medication? I believe in it. Is it dangerous? Absolutely, especially with pharmaceutical companies just looking out for a dollar. However, I do need to be on medication at this point in my life because it's stabilizing me until I can learn enough skills to be stable without it. So, anyway, that's my story for today. Y'all love yourselves, and I got nothing else. It's just one of those days. My brain is just zipping. So, hey, love yourselves and love each other, and knock off the bullshit. Nobody needs it. All right. We'll talk to you guys later.